Do you have an idea? Oh, that's not bad. People actually do that. And the art of it is making it faster and faster and faster. I've been doing pageants for about 10 years now. And for me, I have gained so much through pageantry. I have gained my communication, leadership, confidence and social branding skills through it. And I have gained so much through dance when it comes to thinking outside the box or even just going with the flow. Sometimes with my schedule, you just got to go with the flow and you just have to adapt and, the show must go on kind of mindset. Like, we'll figure it out. We're not going to panic. We'll just see what happens.
For sure. Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of Capital Spotlight. Today we're here with Annemarie Cake. You're on the House Administration Committee. You are a deputy clerk and a professional staff member. So thank you for coming and joining the show. We're so glad to have you here.
Thank you. I am so happy to be here, so excited. I think the last time I was on a podcast/interview, it was all in Spanish. So It's nice to change things up a little bit.
Yeah, we would have a very shallow conversation if we were talking in Spanish, but that's great. That's very cool. How fluent is your Spanish?
I would say pretty fluent, very conversational. I can get a conversation passed and everyone knows what I'm talking about. So I think I would say pretty good. I rank it high.
That's great. When I first started Connect, I was waiting tables at Mission for like a year and a half. And all the help staff there, like the bussers and the kitchen people were all from various parts of Central and South America. And I had some Spanish beforehand, but that was the best my Spanish ever was because it was just consistent communication because none of them knew English. It was perfect. It was so fun to have that and flex that side of your brain. It feels good to do something outside of the regular.
Definitely.
Ordinary. Yeah, for sure. So to get started, can you just give us a little bit of background about yourself? Where are you from? How did you grow up? That type of thing.
Yes, absolutely. So I am originally from the area. I grew up in Northern Virginia, so from the area through and through.
What part?
Arlington.
Cool. Oh, so literally right
across
here.
the river. Yes. And so originally from the area, went to school here all my life, and then I went to UVA and got my bachelor's in politics, and I minored in dance. I'm also a dancer.
Nice.
And then after I graduated 2 years ago, I decided to come back to the Hill, started my first job on Capitol Hill right after graduation, and I have been here ever since.
So someone who's born here, stays around, how do you still have to make that jump of, I like politics, I want to be involved in this? What was that moment for you?
I like that question. Well, I actually wasn't interested in politics too much in college. I actually just had I organized a class reunion last week for my grade school, and I ran into my 8th grade teacher, and that's where we learned about government really in depth. And I told her I was not really interested too much, and now here I am working at the Capitol. So I would say my interest started more in college. I first was going to do business administration, but then I switched over to politics because it just seemed so much more interesting. And for me, I am all about, let's go with the flow. Let's see what happens. A little bit of the entertainment, but at the same time, making things happen. And so I felt that politics was a place for me. And now I work more, not so much with policy, but I work more with administration and operations, which is something that I love.
For sure. So how did you get your start on the Hill?
I first interned, I guess now a little over 2 years ago, during the COVID era.
What a great time to be an intern.
Yes, I definitely missed out a lot looking back on it, but it's okay. It was a different time. And I interned with Kevin McCarthy.
Cool.
And back when he was the House Minority Leader, and he was just also a regular member, so both in the personal office and the leader's office. And that was such a wonderful experience. I loved it so much that I knew during that internship that I had to come back after graduation. So I started applying, before I was about to graduate, and it was all Hill internships, anything I could get my foot in the door so that I can hopefully end up with a job.
Nice. And so how long have you been with the administration committee now?
Yes. So a little over 2 years. I celebrated my anniversary. I call it my anniversary on May 15th.
Nice.
So,
Congratulations.
thank you.
What does it mean to be a clerk?
To be a clerk, yes. So as the deputy clerk, I handle a lot with the hearings and the markups, heavily with the operations side of things, making sure that everything flows and runs smoothly. So it's a lot of behind the scenes,
Cool.
I would say. But for me, I'm a dancer. I know the importance of presentation and making things, preparation beforehand so that
great.
you have a successful show. So I love it. I love the behind the scenes, and it's great to just see all your hard work come out during the hearing.
So you are someone who has a very successful Hill career. You're doing a lot there, but somehow managed to do so many different things on the side. So we'll start with dance, but just give people a little bit of a background here about what you do.
Absolutely. So I have been dancing since the age of 5.
Wow.
I started Peruvian dance and Irish dance around the same time, and I grew up dancing with those 2 extracurriculars. I also did other activities as well at a young age, like rhythmic gymnastics, swimming, soccer, other sports, but I just couldn't, I always found myself going back to dance. And it was just something about it, and I have been doing competitive dancing for pretty much ever since I started for both dances. And right now I dance specifically for the competitive side of Irish dancing.
Cool.
Right. I dance for the Kavanaugh Porter Academy, which has locations both in Ireland and in the U.S. So I'm very busy with that. But I love it. I love to dance. It brings me so much joy and love, and I'm also surrounded by the people I love as well.
How do you find the time to do that outside of work?
It's definitely hard. I'm not gonna lie, but it's not impossible. You just have to know your priorities, and you have to have good time management skills, and also take care of yourself. And for me, I prioritize my sleep and keeping hydrated, and those are my 2 fuels. I'm not really a coffee drinker. I'm more of sleep and water, and so
There you go.
you just have to know yourself, know what fuels you and what keeps you going. So definitely that.
Nice. And when it comes to Peruvian and Irish dance, why those 2?
So my mom is Peruvian and my dad has Irish ties. And
Gotcha.
so when I was younger, my mom started to put me in extracurricular activities, and of course Irish dance came up because my grandma encouraged me to do that, and so I did that. And then my other grandma wanted me to do the Peruvian dance, and so it just worked out where I just fell in love with both of them.
Nice.
At a very young age.
So can you help us understand the difference between the 2, or like what the core style of those 2 types of dances are?
Yes, they are both, I would say, unique and also similar in some ways. For both of them, you definitely have to have a lot of endurance. For Irish dance, I would say it's more of a structured, formal, stiff upper body and flowy lower body dance. And so it's also very straight-faced. You're just focused on all your feet work.
Okay.
And then the Peruvian dance is more, the Peruvian dance specifically that I do a bunch, but one of the ones I focus on is called La Mañanera, which is Peru's national dance.
Cool.
And it is more of a romance, it's also a couples dance, so it's a courtship, it's a flowy dance, and it's a little bit flirtatious.
Okay.
So it's, in terms of comparing the 2, and describing the 2, I like to say if these 2 dances were on a date, I would say the Peruvian dance, La Mañanera, would bring the romance and the roses and the poetry, and then the Irish dancer would probably show up on time and probably dance the entire date without, if they were holding a drink, without spilling anything.
There you go.
Dropping a drop.
That's very cool. Thank you for that explanation. I have a really weird thought that came into my mind from this, but like when you look at old movies and you experience like that courtship of dancing together, do you ever see that stuff and be like, man, like our culture now is missing out so much on that because you get to partake in it still?
Yes, I completely agree. I think it's a different world that we live in, but I hope that something like our generation will realize the change and take action.
Yeah, definitely not having it at 8th grade dances these days, but maybe one day soon.
It's a little different. I think, just like anything we see in history, there's kind of like a revolution or like something that changes majorly because people are tired of the same things that keep happening. So I think I have a feeling. I'm not psychic, but I have a feeling that something like that could happen.
That would be great.
I would hope.
Sometimes I feel like as a man so inferior when I look at like those old movies or something. I'm like, man, I'm totally missing out on being able to dance with my wife or something like
I
that.
know.
Like that's so special.
I think it's something about a social norm, and once when people understand and they know that type of social norm, then it'll start to spread. But that's just unfortunately not the culture right now. But
hey, maybe that is your role. Like you have to bring back dance. Is that like the premise of Footloose? I don't know, but
I don't know. We'll have to
Footloose.
see. I mean, that's why I love working in politics so much, because there's certain policies that you can support or certain groups that you can further support to further promote the agenda that you want to convey.
There you go. Good stuff. What a great transition there. So on the competitive side, what does a typical competition look like for you?
Yes. So for the Irish dancing, like I said, I dance with the Kavanaugh Porter Academy, which is a very competitive environment. I would say my dance life consists of weekly dance practices on the weekends, and if we can squeeze in weekday practices, we will. But what I love about my school is that we're very competitive, but at the same time, we push each other. We encourage each other. And I'm with girls of all ages, from like elementary school girls to high schoolers and some adults. So all different ages, different levels. And at the end of the day, though, even though we push each other and encourage each other, we're still part of one team. Yeah. And so it's kind of like the Olympics when you're training together and then you're working towards this one specific event, and you go to the Olympics and you're representing your country. Just in my case, I'm representing my school and I'm at these competitions. It brings a sense of support. And in terms of competitions, I travel a lot, locally, regionally, nationally, and internationally for these competitions. And I love doing it. To me, this is a sport, and it requires a lot of dedication. But at the end of the day, it has brought me so much happiness, and that's why I encourage everyone out there to find something that they're passionate about, find something they love doing, whether it's a sport or a hobby, something that's outside of work to keep the mind engaged, so that it gives you another perspective, something to look forward to, and it also brings you community as well.
Absolutely. Anything to connect other than like after work talking about politics even more,
Oh, for sure. Or turning on the news again. No. Yeah. Let's change it up a little bit.
That's great. I want to get to all of your other extracurriculars as well, but quickly before we switch topics, do you have any highlights of specific competitions that you've gone to or places that just like really stick out for you?
Yes, well, there's just so many memories, so many highlights. But last year I was in Texas and Orlando for the nationals and regionals, and these competitions happen all year round. So I'll be going to Orlando this coming December, and nationals actually will be at National Harbor in July. So it's coming up.
Are you like bummed that you don't get to go somewhere for it?
Yes, I'm a little bummed, but at the same time, I'm good. Yeah. I like being nearby. I get to bring some family and friends with me as well, and they get to watch, because sometimes people don't understand what I do.
Yeah, that's great.
Unless I post about it, but it's fun to just bring the world to them. I also was in Ireland this past February, competing for the All Ireland Irish Dance Championships, and that was amazing because, like I said earlier, my school has locations both in the U.S. and in Ireland. So I got to meet some people in Ireland for the first time, and that was great. And for me, when it comes to results, I, of course, push myself, but it's all about being the very best dancer that I can be. Yeah. So that's how I challenge myself. And I think competitions are great in that. And that's kind of how I stick to having a healthy mindset. It's all
Yeah.
about pushing yourself in your own way and being the very best dancer. So there's some results that I'm like so happy about, and other results I'm like, oh, I could have done better. But it's the game. It's
Yeah.
all about playing the game or playing your cards right.
Yeah, for sure. And it seems like discipline is super important to you. This is still a professional podcast. We do talk a lot about work. So like, how do you transfer that discipline into work, or how has dance taught you to be more disciplined at work, or whatever it may be?
Definitely. I have gained so many skills from dance, whether it's through my presentation skills, my confidence skills, or my creative skills.
Yeah.
And we can talk a little bit later. I have a literacy platform based
Yeah.
on creativity, and I have gained so much through dance when it comes to thinking outside the box, or even just going with the flow.
Yeah.
Sometimes with my schedule, you just got to go with the flow,
Yeah,
and you
for
just
sure.
have to adapt. And the show must go on kind of mindset. Like, we'll figure it out. We're not going to panic. We'll just see what happens.
For sure.
So it's definitely made me more of a relaxed person in that way, where it's just like, we'll see what happens, and it'll all work out at the end.
And my wife did theater growing up, and she was very talented at it, but she gained so many skills from that, and especially like the show must go on, and that ability to just turn things on when you have to. I'm sure that can be really nice working on a committee, or you kind of just have to go sometimes.
Oh, absolutely. There's so many bloopers that happen.
Yeah.
And no one doesn't know, because you just have to make it work. You just have to just keep going. And so it's really nice to just have that skill, especially working during the hearings and markups, where you're working with so many different people,
Yeah,
so
for
many
sure.
different things can happen. And so you just go with the flow and you figure it out.
Nice. Love that. Definitely a good skill to have on the hill.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to your literacy platform, fill us in. What's going on there?
Yes. So I am the founder of a literacy platform called Dancing Through Words, which is a platform that promotes the development of children's imagination through storytelling.
Very cool.
And thank you. And with that, I go to schools, libraries, anywhere where there's a big community, and promotes the art of storytelling within our youth. And 2 years ago, I actually created my own children's book.
Very cool.
That is called My First Pañuelo, and it's a book in English and Spanish that promotes Peru's national dance, which is the La Marinera. And so I use that book as an educational tool to further promote my platform. And I started this platform 2 years ago, and it's just been so rewarding. It's been an absolute joy to be surrounded by kids and parents and further promote the art of creativity and storytelling.
What inspired you to start all of that?
Well, I've danced for many years, and when it came to the book, I realized that there was no book that related back to my dance. Yet this book is very popular within the Peruvian community in Peru, but also here in the US. And so I wanted to be someone that left an impact where there was a story that was told about it. And so I started writing the book, and I also decided to make it in English and Spanish so that kids can also practice their literacy skills and also practice their secondary languages.
Very cool. Again, I don't know how you find time to do all this, but that's so special. What was the process of going from the idea to starting to write it to actually getting it printed?
Yes. So I always knew I wanted to write a book. And then I first came up with the story, my manuscript, and I found a really talented illustrator. Her name is Tanya Gupta, and she's also one of my really good friends now. And she was the one that illustrated my book, made the story come to life, and I also had an agent that put the entire book together.
Nice.
Because even though I would have loved to have done it, I was also a student at the same time. At UVA, I got my book published in my last semester in college while finishing up exams and applying for jobs. And so it worked out in the end where I was able to put the whole book together, and I was able to come out of UVA as a student author.
Wow. Good for you.
Thank you.
So on top of all of that, we also have your pageantry that you do. So, or wait, real quick. Let's see the book. If you want to show it off to that camera or this camera.
Yes, I'm happy to. So
yeah.
I actually did bring the book with me. And It's right here. It's called My First Pañuelo again.
Very cool.
And it's the dance of Peru and introduces Peru's national dance, which is La Marinera. And my lovely illustrator, I don't know if you can see her, my lovely illustrator, Tanya Gupta, she was the one that did these beautiful illustrations. And
let's
here,
see
I'll
inside.
Put it right here. You want to see inside? Yes.
For sure.
So there's me, and I mean, my illustrator. This is also a story based off of my grandma.
Oh, very cool.
So it also has some ties in my parents. If you want to know how my parents look like, they look like this in here. But it's about a young girl that goes to Peru for the first time and discovers this beautiful dance, which is called La Marinera. And I told you earlier it was like a courtship romantic dance. And so this is an example of what the Marinera Norteña dance looks like. And I wanted to be the first to write something like this because I did not see anything like this when I was a child. I just saw like sometimes magazines, but I feel like an actual book, something tangible for kids to learn at a young age would also be great as well. And so I won't give too much away of the story, but as a little memory, I did want to give you something. Here, I'll put the book right here.
Yeah, let's keep it here.
We'll keep it here.
We're
Okay,
like
now we've introduced her.
Yeah.
But the girl's name is Sarita, and she basically discovers this handkerchief, which is called a pañuelo.
Okay.
Kind of giving away the story a little bit, but I'm not going to say any more.
All right.
But she discovers this handkerchief, and that's the pañuelo. You can go in and open it, and she discovers how to use it. And I'll give you a second if you know how to make this picture look like what you can do. I don't know if you can.
Is it like spinning? It seems like it's
Yes,
spinning.
it's spinning. Do you have an idea? Oh, that's not bad. People actually do that. So basically, in the story, it tells you, but you just take a corner of the pañuelo.
Okay.
And we also have the nice little logo right here.
Yeah, I
of
love
the story. It was
good branding.
Yes, thank you. You would know.
Yeah. I appreciate the compliment from beforehand.
Yes, so you fold the corner of the pañuelo to the center.
Cool.
You got it. And then you're going to take your right hand.
Okay.
And you're going to put the two pañuelos, the two handkerchiefs in between your fingers like this.
Cool.
Yep, you got it. And you're just going to make a figure 8 with it.
Okay.
And the art of it is making it faster and faster and faster.
Gotta have good forearm
Good
strength.
forearms, you got it.
There
And
you
then we
go.
also, just like her, we wave it high in there.
All right.
So you got
Love it. There we go.
That is yours to keep.
Oh.
You can always think about me with the pañuelo.
Add it to our little like collection over here.
Oh, yes. You
Yeah.
can add it here. I love your connection.
We have a lot of stress balls.
Oh, me too.
Stressed bunch.
Me too, though. I have like a giraffe. I have like a tractor. I get fun things at reception.
Yeah, exactly. All of those are from receptions. So definitely just adding on. But this is perfect. Thank you so much for bringing that in.
Yes, you're welcome.
All right. So, okay, let's talk about pageantry now.
Okay.
So fill us in there.
Yes. So I've been doing pageants for about 10 years now. And for me, I have gained so much through pageantry. I have gained my communication, leadership, confidence and social branding skills through it. And I find myself everywhere I go. I notice there's a little pageant girl in me that is always with me. And I don't know, with or without the crown, I always feel that I am who I am for being a pageant girl today. And so I'm so grateful for it, thankful for it. My most recent title, I competed for International Junior Miss, which is an international pageant. It was held in January at Virginia Beach.
Very cool.
And I represented Virginia for that. And last year, actually around this time, I was preparing for Miss Virginia, which
Cool.
is part of the Miss America organization. You've probably heard of it. I don't know if you have.
Yeah, I think I've heard
Miss
of
America.
it. Yeah,
She
yeah.
actually just visited the president, I think a couple weeks ago.
Very cool.
So, yes, so Miss America, for the Miss America organization, and that was a wonderful experience. And that was last year. And I would say balancing that and the dance and the work, because I also got a recent promotion last year, It was a lot, but
Yeah.
it was a great year. I would not have changed anything for it.
Love that. So I assume to compete in Miss America, you first have to compete to become the first or like the Miss of that state, right? So like,
Yes.
what is the competition process like to keep going and going?
Yes, so it depends on the pageant system, but usually, traditionally, it'll start from a local level, and then it'll start at a state, and then it'll go to nationals, and then
Gotcha.
sometimes depending on the pageant, international.
Very cool.
And so for me, last year, I had to compete at a local level in January of 2024, and then I won that. Wasn't expecting it too much because I was like, oh, okay, we'll see what happens. Won it. So that meant you had to go to Miss Virginia.
Okay.
So I went to Miss Virginia, and unfortunately, I didn't get the title, but I did come back with a lot of memories and a lot of good friendships. But if I won that, then I would go to Miss America.
Gotcha. Are you going to try to compete again?
We'll see.
All
Yes,
right.
we'll see. I also have some other personal projects that I want to do as well, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, just add another one on. Right?
Yes, exactly. You've done it before. This year is more about focusing on the dance. I
Okay.
really want to focus on
Cool.
it. And I have nationals coming up, like I said earlier. And so I really want to do well at that. And I have the regionals coming up in December.
Very
so
cool.
I have some things that I really want to focus on.
When it comes to preparation for a pageant, so did you win like Miss Arlington or Miss Boston or what was that title?
It's a local, yes. So it's a local title. So I had Miss Dominion, which didn't
Okay.
have any like local region, but it was a local title that was considered for Miss
Gotcha.
Virginia.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so what's the preparation, let's say at the like Miss Virginia level, what did you have to do beforehand? What are the things you have to do during the competition?
Yes, so there's a lot, and you need a lot of outfits. And so basically there is an interview round where you're in a quiet room with like 10 judges, and they basically grill you for like 10 minutes on any questions that they can ask you. So you just have to be ready for that. And then there's on-stage questions as well. And there's an evening gown portion, which you just wear a nice long evening gown for. And then you have fitness wear. And then you have talent.
Okay.
So there's a bunch of different categories
Let me
that
guess,
you have.
danced.
I danced, yes. And I really wanted to showcase me, but at the same time, I wanted to incorporate all the things that I do. So it was a little challenging, but I ended up going with the Irish dance.
Okay.
And I did that on the Miss Virginia stage, which I was so happy about. I was the only Irish dancer.
Very cool.
So it stuck out a little bit. And I also play the flute too, so I also wanted to showcase that, but we ran out of time. But I don't know. And then also I did the Peruvian dance too, but I ended up doing Irish dance on the
Okay.
stage. So
Very cool.
We'll see. Maybe the next time we'll incorporate something else.
Was your Peruvian grandmother like, how dare you?
No, she's totally fine. She's in the area, and I get to see her all the
Nice.
time. She's in this book, so she was totally. I made the book out of her, so
Yeah,
I was like,
alright.
okay.
You already took care of that side of the family.
It was fine. It was fine. She loves to watch me dance, and I'm so happy. I feel blessed that I'm able to continue it. Because I do it for myself, but I also, part of me does it for my family, and I'm glad that it worked out in the end where everyone always tells me that they're so happy that I'm still dancing, and I'm like, oh, it's because I just love it. I love
Yeah.
to do it. And my great grandmother danced, and my great aunt, but my parents never danced. They weren't the dancers. My mom never did dance. She never did pageants. So it's just something that stuck, and my mom was just my biggest supporter.
That's great. So what else do you do? There's going to be like 10 other things, but all right, we got the flute. What else is like on your radar? What do you do outside of work?
Outside of work, well, I try to spend as much time as I can, catching up with my family and friends. I sometimes find it being a struggle a little bit, just, trying to balance everything. So every time when I have free time, I do my best to catch up. I'm interested in cooking as
Okay.
well, and baking. I wish I had more time for it, but if I do have time, you'll always find me doing meal preps or just trying something new.
Cool.
So I'm
What's your
interested in
go-to
that.
dish?
My go-to dish. Anything that's in a bowl.
Okay.
And that has like quinoa or anything easy to make, but very healthy. I'm a little bit of a healthy eater.
Cool.
So definitely that. I also love omelets. I can eat an omelet like any time of day, and I'm really good at making them. But
What do
I'm
you
still
put in
learning.
your omelet?
I put this one specific cheese from Whole Foods that I love, and then it's from Wisconsin.
Cool.
And I also put onions, tomato, peppers, and that's it.
There you go.
Yes, and so it's very easy to make. I'm still learning how to cook more, but some things that I already know what to do. I think I've mastered.
Yeah.
So ready to move on soon.
You gotta cook anyway, so you might as well get good at it.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes. So I definitely try. I'm trying to think of any other things. I play chess.
Nice.
Yes.
A competition at all, or just like, just hanging out playing some chess?
I used to do it when I was younger, competitions. I won one chess tournament.
Okay.
But I don't really do it too much anymore. But when there is time, there's an opportunity, I'll play it. And I just, like I said, just spending time with my friends and family. And honestly, I need to catch up on scrapbooking. I'm not a scrapbooker, but I need to get my pictures together. So that's another thing. I just need to, I don't know. For me, I'm always finding myself doing something. Like last week, I organized my class reunion because I was like, okay, things are dialing down a little bit. Let's make things happen. And so I found some time to do that. I was at Miss DC 2 days ago. One of my friends competed for it. Like, there's always events, or there's always something to do.
Yeah.
So, especially in the DC area, there's always something to do every weekday, every weekend. So I definitely keep myself busy.
Nice. Obviously, with so many different things going on, you have a lot of opportunities for community outside of work. But what would you suggest for that staffer that most of their friends are on the Hill, they're in politics? Like, how can you figure out ways to find that community outside of work?
I would say, go to as many receptions as possible and go to as many networking events. And church groups are great. Sports groups are great. I played Volo. I don't know. Have you heard of Volo?
Yeah, for sure. We're DC Fray people over here.
Oh,
but,
okay. Got it.
Volo's cool too.
Yes. I've only had experience in Volo, but I made some friends there. I did the kickball, in the dark one,
cool.
which was really cool.
Get smashed in the face with a kickball.
Yes, and it was a glow-in-the-dark kickball, but you can still miss it sometimes. But yeah, so I would say, anything you're interested in. Like, we're so lucky that the DC area has so much to offer, whether that's, walking around the city or like running around, or there's a lot of group fitness classes or anything like cycling. There's a lot of different things that you can do. And if you're interested more on learning about your heritage, we have the embassies down the street.
Yeah, fair enough.
So you definitely, I found it pretty easy to make friends. Also, I will say, even though we have a lot, like when you work on the Hill, you have a lot of your Hill friends. At least for me, I found that the more coffees I got, the more people I met. And some of my best friends are actually people that work on the Hill. Okay. And so, like I said, get coffees, go to receptions, because chances are these type of people that work on the Hill probably have the same interests as you, and you end up being friends with them.
Yeah. Do you have any coffee tips for people? We have a lot of younger staff who listen to the show, so any advice there?
Yes. I would say, yes, when you initiate the coffee, initiate fully. And so, follow up the day of, make sure, hey, are we still on? And I would always say, especially to the higher ups, like, write a thank you email or write a thank you note for thanking them for their time and for meeting with you. I didn't realize that a thank you note on Capitol Hill really goes a long way.
Yeah, it really does. And like in the hiring process too, when we're hiring for different positions, when people do that kind of stuff, it's not that hard to do, right? But like the thought that goes into it, or the discipline that goes into it, to think like, okay, I'm going to remember to follow up the next day, and at the very least send a thank you email. Like, that does go a long way of realizing like, okay, this person's put together, like they're thinking about those type of things. So yeah.
Exactly. Yes. I think it just, because they don't know you. So you definitely, you're putting your best foot forward.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it gives you a good reputation. For me, I'm an overachiever. So a thank you note, I'm like, check, let's make the thank you note pretty. Like,
yeah, absolutely. Honestly, there have been people where I'm like, I like in an interview process and then just never hear from them again afterwards. And I feel like that's kind of a turnoff when you're looking for the right person. And so,
Yes, well, especially the Hill, it's such a small world. Reputation is everything. So I would say always remember that, prioritize your reputation and make it well known within the Capitol Hill community.
yeah, absolutely. So, final question. We got through all the personal stuff. My final question is usually, who are you outside of work? But luckily, you are a heck of a person outside of work. So we've covered that fully. But when it comes to work on the Hill, what kind of just more general advice do you have for people as they try to work their way up?
Definitely. I would say be a self-starter in your office and initiate and go the extra mile. I would say no task is too small when it comes to, filling up the coffee machine or making copies. Like those kind of things matter. And sometimes you don't have the answers to everything. You're not expected to. But I would say be willing to learn and be willing to be a team player. I think that also stands out. And I would also say get as many coffees as possible. Definitely. You never know who you're going to meet or what new things you'll meet within a coffee. And also get lost in the Capitol.
Yes, that was my favorite thing to do.
Yes,
so totally
I still get
that.
lost. I can tell you, I'm serious. There's probably chiefs that they may know the Capitol, but they may not know certain things, little things about the Capitol. So I would say get lost, make life fun. Get lost and learn some new things through there. And you also, especially on an in-session day, you never know who you're going to run into in the hallways, in the elevator. I ran into Bill Nye, the science guy, one time. I passed Paris Hilton. You just never know, especially while being in session. So get lost.
Very cool. Annemarie, thank you for joining the podcast. It was great having you.
Thank you so much for having me. And thank you to you and your team for putting this entire podcast together and for making such a lasting impact within the Capitol Hill community.
Well, thank you. We appreciate it. Thank you for tuning into Capitol Spotlight Podcast. If you enjoyed the show, be sure to subscribe to our channels to stay updated on new releases, share the show with your friends, and rate the show on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. For more from Connect, subscribe to our daily newsletters, follow us on social media, and check out our website, all at Capitol Connect, Capitol with an O, CNCT. See you next time.